Hello and welcome to Political Breakdown. My name is Ashley Haden, and this show is about the week's news where me and guests talk about the news and try not to cry. Now we're also on other mediums, audio stuff that I meant to say so that people do stuff like Spotify and all of that, and you'll find it's fine. My guest this week is
Daniel Cadey.
Daniel Cadey. Regular guest on here.
4 times.
I mean, it's mainly because you're available.
Yeah.
And I like you.
I don't know which one of those scares
and
me most.
you don't tend to flake doing this. And I have guests who I ask, and then they tend to realise what it's about after they've said yes, and then find excuse to not do it, leaving me stranded.
Well, it's relatively early in the day for me. And also, rail replacement bus means I'm stranded in London unless I want to get a bus back to Essex.
Was it rail replacement bus?
Yeah. But I was in London anyway, so I thought, and I want to be here, which is nice.
Where were you getting a rail replacement bus from? What's not going?
You're
still in Chelmsford, didn't you?
Yeah. And
yes.
For people listening on the audio, this could be a wonderful.
Yeah.
Can't even look at us having this glorious conversation, but back in Essex at the moment. Ash, it's quite topical.
Yeah.
Is that good for the
you
politics?
Chelmsford, every time. First class of the best. Call them up. You'll see when you pay for your front, you get your back done free.
Reading out the sponsors first. proper podcast. Look at that.
Not sponsored by anyone. No one will fucking sponsor this shit. So let's start with news before we get fully off track.
Oh yes.
Let's start with the most fun story that you can ever talk about: free speech.
Okay.
There's been a free speech row broke out at the Oxford Uni after the uni attacked a decision by the UN Women's Oxford Society to cancel a speech by Amber Rudd 30 minutes before she was meant to go on. Now, the EU women withdrew the invitation. They claimed that it was because they said it was
Caribbean
because,
Union.
Yeah, the Oxford African and Caribbean Society applied pressure, although the ACS have said that they didn't. They were not going to boycott it. So let's start with that bit first. The UN women. Whatever it is, it's not called that anymore because the UN Women's Group have told them they can't use the name anymore.
Now, isn't it like the United Women of Oxford Union
Society
UK
some shit,
group?
First off, they went, well, it's not us, it's
these, and that group then said, oh no, we've got individuals who might have off their own backs said some things that they didn't agree with her speaking, but it all just takes away from the fact that, I mean, without all of the backbiting and who said or she said, it's like half hour before giving it, no.
Well, that's it.
And the reason for the talk was it's not about her politics, it's sort of encouraging it was about free speech and getting women as well to be get into politics or basically empowering women to sort of do whatever they want, and then start saying, no, actually, no, you shouldn't come down. And also she'd gone for free, which that's.
Well, this becomes an interesting
no payment
argument with regards to. And frankly, we shouldn't be having this, but there's a lot in this fucking that I want to talk about this week that 2 straight white men shouldn't be talking about. But
so we are going to do MasterChef.
Yeah.
Cool. Wicked.
Well, I did invite. We did have a female guest on. It would have, but she didn't read the message right.
At 12:30, you told she didn't read the message right.
I know,
Okay.
She thought it was for 7. Instead of 1 that we recorded on, so she couldn't make it.
And now, is she going to be a first-time guest as well?
She was, yes.
So now she'll probably see this, and then she won't be a guest
at
any point.
She won't be a guest at any point anyway.
Christ, this was what it was it?
I mean, that's not how it works. You don't leave me hanging for the first one and then expect me to fucking go again.
Right. So what you're saying is we shouldn't be discussing about.
What we shouldn't be discussing is whether or not you can, as someone like Amber Rudd, who as you say, this was all about International Women's Day, the one day of the year that we care about women. It seems. It's the most. International Women's Day is the most pointless fucking day of the year. It goes along with Black History Month and everything else. And they go, well, why are you putting a day for it or a month for it? This should be an entire year thing. I'm not saying that what they're doing is bad. I'm saying that society in itself, it goes the same as charity, going, well, there's something already fundamentally flawed if what you're saying is, oh, well, don't worry, we're getting better, we've got a day. Fuck off. That's not right. That's not how it should be fucking going.
No, it isn't, but at the same time, it's the same as everything that has the day. That's a day to sort of like champion the thing and say, actually, this is something that should be going on all the time, but this is a day we can all come together. But not you. Half an hour before, we've got another faction that says that you shouldn't be part of coming together. And that's the same with like, we're just living in a world now where there's just different factions of backbiting, so it's so hard to have any cohesive movement, it seems, in anything. So whether that's like Labour and all like the infight in there, whether it's about then women's suffrage, so like all women's rights, and so much fighting in between. Like to say someone like Jermaine Greer, who once was a champion of that movement, is now quite sort of like lambasted on the other side. So everyone's got an opinion. It's all shit. I'm the only person that doesn't have an opinion. So. I'm a second-rate citizen.
Well,
like,
with regards to Amber Rudd, has she done enough?
Straight single white man.
There.
Yeah, no.
I'm
just saying. No, you know.
I spoke over you, and I apologise.
I'm bankrupt, but at the same time, I rule the world. So Jesus Christ.
But Amber Rudd, has she done enough for women to think, well, maybe we don't necessarily have to like her politics, but as a woman in a male-dominated society, maybe some of her opinions in how to move forward and get more women into politics is worth listening to.
But then that for me isn't even like the argument. Like, well, that's the argument you have before you book her.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, because then what we're doing, we're deciding whether, like, now when you talk about saying, like, well, should this person be booked, should this person do a thing? You've made booking, some people have said they didn't like it, and then half an hour beforehand, so there's so many sort of stupid little, but, you think they'd be good at organising things, but no. It just makes you wonder. It goes in with, like...
what stereotypes are actually true?
Yeah, exactly. It's all up in the air now.
I mean, to go against Amber Rudd, like, if I was to pick reasons why she potentially shouldn't be allowed to talk, I would have gone for the quitting cabinet over Windrush, and the whole Windrush as a whole. And she tried to deport a potential witness over the death at the Morton Hall Immigration Refugee Centre, or Removal Centre. The High Court blocked that. But there is an irony, of course, of saying, well, this is wrong for you not allowing me to speak. And you're there going, yeah, but you literally tried to get rid of evidence over a death at one of your fucking removal centres. So maybe you're not the one to fucking stand up and go, what about me?
Sure, but if they were doing that, then they would stand by their decision and not be passing it around. And the other thing about all of that stuff, it's not like that's hidden. They've just gone, whoa, we were just in the taxi and we've read this. She's endorsed for it on LinkedIn. It's not like any of that stuff is sort of buried anywhere.
Well, this is it.
So you bought the people, you bought the person in, you got the book in. You're not happy with it, but. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and with regards to no platforming as a whole, are you for or against no platforming?
I love a platform. I'm for platforming. Is that all right? Will that work?
I just don't know if you're going to be moving this into a joke about trains or shoes. So
Donkey Kong, because I'm of an age. Barrel roll into that. But no, it's horrible. It's annoying because you no platforming. So there's certain people that I just would not want to have a platform. But it's more about the people. I want to choose the people that can hear a platform. Maybe that. I want everyone to have free speech, but I want to decide who should be able to hear it. Because I'm like, you're susceptible to actually believe in this, and that's the problem. It's not the person. It's not the person speaking so much now. It's now that you've taken this and you've rolled with it.
Well, I mean,
Donkey Kong.
Yes.
See, there you go.
You look into regards to. You look with regards to things like no platforming and moving people away from social media and everything else. And sometimes it does work, other times it doesn't. Tommy Robinson, moving him away from, banning him from a lot of social media, has really taken away, or Stephen Yaxley Lennon, don't call it his fucking stage name, he has shown that moving him away from all of his social media has cost him money, has cost him influence. He's not in everyone's fucking sight anymore as often as he was. With regards to no platforming in especially universities and stuff like this, we have to start truly questioning if academic freedoms, which should be as high as possible, are being affected by our own want to not make people sad.
Is there is there an element of sort of like a bit of intellectual snobbery as well, by in saying that anyone in university should be able to, people can like discern between the voices there, but
well, they can't.
actually,
people who go to university are still thick as shit. They may think that they're intelligent, and they may go, I've got a first in this. They go, yeah, but you're still a fucking moron. You have a look at everyone in the Commons who went to university, they're still all thick as shit.
But they got street smarts.
No, they don't. That's the problem. They go, I can write a long dissertation. You know, going, yeah, but you wouldn't be able to work out how to use your socks to wipe your ass, mate. You know. And it's. I'll be honest, not the most perfect sentence I've ever said.
I mean, they'd probably not come to the point of. Although at the moment there is a reason for needing the socks. Yes. Yeah, nice.
And you never know when you're going to be required to think outside the box. And I don't think
it's when the cupboard's bare. So, all right. Anyway, so what was there a question in this, or was it just you shouting at me about wiping my ass with a sock? Yeah, I thought it might. Right.
I think that point, because I mean, there's a lot into the no platforming. I understand no platforming someone like Katie Hopkins, but she shouldn't be allowed. She shouldn't be invited in the fucking first place. Is that where the problem comes with no platforming? Is it the fact that you're inviting these fucking awful arseholes and going, well, I can't believe people are annoyed by this?
But there's right. So if you're saying no platforming, like, there's already a platform. They already speak to their followers. Not like I'm not talking about Twitter followers, but they already have a platform. They're already speaking to their masses, and so they've already sort of like galvanised the movement in one way. So if you're not giving them a platform, does that mean you're not even able to hold them to account? It depends on. It's too wide a ridiculous a question, sort of like platform or non-platform.
I mean, there are certainly shades of grey with literally everything, and I think this
is what I like to bring into this. So
I think that's one of the major problems that the left face. And I think that's one of the major problems with no platforming. There are going to be shades of grey in a lot of stuff, and I do not think that the left are currently capable of dealing with shades of grey. I think that the majority of the left, as we see it now, where we see it in the papers, on Twitter and everything else, and I know the Twitter, because when we talk about it, Twitter and the papers is not the rest of the fucking UK. It simply isn't. If you speak to people, they may have a more of a left, or just not give a fuck about the idea. They may have more of a grey area opinion. But from what we see, universities, no platforming, the media, everything that's going on, including if we look at what happened over at The Guardian on Friday, where you had 300 plus employees of The Guardian send a letter to the editor about their worry that there is an anti-trans movement going on in The Guardian, where you've had three trans people have already resigned over anti-trans comments from their superiors. And there was an article by, I think it was Suzanne Moore, that people found people didn't like, including a part of the Guardian that said that the trans movement and women's rights are heading towards a collision. And these people complained about all of this.
This goes back. Doesn't this go back to one of your favourite things about like this league of discrimination or sort of like which side.
Yes.
There's the hierarchy of it because at the same time there's going to be so much that's sort of like, for instance, like somewhere where it's like, I don't know, who else is in Guardian, like Owen Jones or any of the other writers. There's going to be different people that are like agreed with or disagreed with as well, and are going to have very strident opinions that people aren't going to agree with. But there are people resigning there, and then where do you say, well, actually, no, this is more of a powder keg, so we're going to go.
Well, this is it, and this is my problem with the left as a whole, is that I worry that we're caring more about offending people than asking a question. I think that we're getting to a point where all of the left's opinions are moving, and I know that I shouldn't use the left as a whole fucking sweeping statement, but I'll be honest with you, I don't have the time or the fucking care to individually name everyone that I think's on the fucking side, because I don't know them all. I'm not going to go along, and it was Edmund Bird, and fucking Damien 2, and Samantha 3, and whatever their fucking people are. So I'm not going to go through that, so I'm just going to say the left. The left are getting to a point where it seems that the opinion is just, how can we not offend these particular people, normally minorities, and you shouldn't offend minorities, of course, but there are questions to be asked in shades of grey for how to make the world better. And it isn't just, let's just make sure they don't cry.
Do you think there's a level of sort of like, there's this sort of nuance around people being aware of how to get their way and sort of debate, which isn't straight down. It might not be sort of very transparent, and it's about actually how do we sell this in. We know this is right, so this all comes from this sense of injustice.
Yes,
and you can be right to have a sense of injustice, but then there's also looking at the way in which your part of the world works and saying, well, how will this get sold in? How do I make a change here? And it isn't always by saying, I'm out, I'm leaving, hardline, bang, gone. So look at everything that happens. So if you're talking about left and right, so conservatives, there's so much crap that goes on in like the party, but they manage to, I don't know, the way in which they align things, and the battles are slightly more. They still have this greater aim, which becomes so you're able to subdue some things, as opposed to with the left when they go on. It's like, no, it's this way, highway, bang. Done. Sorry, I don't know what I shouldn't be doing.
I've always
that's me just signaling that way.
No, yeah. Well, I've always thought that if I was to compare it, like if we were going to do Labour Tories, to say, Tories have always been like the Romans, where they have the fucking turtle defence, and they're all in one fucking line. Whereas Labour are more like the Gauls, they're just all over the place. They think they're heading in the right direction. Let's just hope. And it's the same when you go to any march from the left, and it's something that always pisses me off. When they march for anything, anti-TTIP.
Great placards.
Yeah, but
they've got great placards.
Yeah, but they're not all the fucking same
not
thing.
Not arguments, exactly. And also, that's what you get whenever there is
Socialist
a march as well.
Party
you just see lots
everywhere.
Of placards.
Fuck off, Socialist Workers' Party. Honestly, wind your neck in. You can't be there going, oh, we're standing for Socialist Workers' Party. What's the march for? Women's rights? What the fuck are you doing, mate? What the fuck are you doing here? You always got people who want to save the fucking badger. This is for climate. Save the badger. Fuck the badger, mate. I don't give a fuck about the badger. What are you doing at this fucking march trying to save the badger when this is not about saving the fucking badger? You want to save the badger, you do your own fucking march, you little knobhead.
I knew we'd get to the knuckle of what your issue is.
I fucking hate badgers. Kill all the badgers.
Where are you on skunks?
Far away.
Yeah? I've never met an actual skunk. I've been approached by a badger.
met an actual skunk?
No, I haven't. I've used to watch the cartoon with the little one with the Pepe.
Oh, the rapist?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Mike, that is a sexual predator.
Yeah. What, a skunk or just Pepe? You just tarring all skunks with the same.
Well, the only skunk I know is this. So I can only take
not all
it from
skunks.
what I know.
Not all skunks. Not all skunks smell the same.
But I mean, they do. They literally do. That's
they though?
The point.
I've not met a real one, so I don't know.
I don't think that
don't
some fucking spray out. Or I don't think that skunks, like some spray out awful Greek-spelling stuff, and then others do like fucking Izzy or Chanel No. 5. I think they're all fucking terrible.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. You know more sense than I do. Guardian comment people. Where are the skunks from? Whereabouts where'd they come from? Where do they originate?
Tunbridge Wells.
They're not.
All skunks.
They're not
from
UK, are they?
All skunks from Tunbridge Wells originally.
I might find a skunk. Shave it off my leg. But yeah, but the thing about but like all the placards and things at marches as well, it seems everything's done with a sort of sense of irony as well, where it's like not even taking itself seriously. No. Where it's like, oh, what is the real fight here? It's this, but if you've never persuaded anyone with a I've seen your shows. You never persuaded anyone with a funny comment to change their mind.
I don't think I've ever persuaded anyone with anything, I'll be honest. But isn't that one of the problems with all of this, especially with the no platform and everything else? You got two issues. You start shining a light on everything. You say, oh well, no, you can only destroy it by shining a light. And people will use Nick Griffin going on to Question Time as an example of this, which frankly isn't. The reason that Nick Griffin didn't go anywhere, not only was he a terrible orator, that Question Time show, but UKIP came to prominence quite close to it, and everyone went, how about if I don't seem like I'm such a massive racist and I'll go with these ones who are slightly less racist than you, then I'll all look fucking better. Yeah.
These ones drink beer.
Yeah, exactly. But people are unwilling to change their minds, and that's one of the issues of society that we see, is the fact that we still don't understand that people are able to change their minds in the presence of new information. It's why we ended up going for Brexit, because we were never allowed a second thing to suggest that, well, this is all the evidence that we have now. It's the same reason that we don't fucking change any. It's the same reason why people end up painting shit yellow indoors. They're going, oh no, it's still a good idea. I really like it. Like, do you? Do you really like it? I really do. You know you're allowed to change your mind, because, I mean, it looks like you're living inside of a fucking lemon, mate. Oh, no, I'm really a big fan. I'm really a big fan of this. Like, are you sure, though? Are you 100% sure? And then you break them down and go, no, it's awful. I look all the way. It looks like I'm living in a fucking Teletubby land. This is dreadful.
Egg yolk is all right.
Is it?
Yeah. Egg yolk is sort of like, it's a more of a mild. It's not quite so sort of like Norwich Canary kind of thing. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think people have give enough credit in that they don't see the nuance of why people might see certain things. So you'll do something like Boris Johnson made a speech the other day saying about that's with the Welsh Conservatives trying to attack Labour, being like, oh, let's unblock the nostrils. Let's be the Vicks vapor that unblocks the nostrils of this Welsh dragon.
God!
And it's just, God! And it's all so much. I know, and it is an orator. It's all this absolute bollocks, and people read it. It's like no one there is saying that. No one is voting on that. People are doing it on like so many different other reasons. I don't think people get enough credit for why that is. That's
and stuff that they don't necessarily even understand. Like there was an MP.
They can understand anger. They can understand anger and frustration. I think that's it's a motive as opposed to.
But there was a tweet from an MP today, I think it was, or yesterday, and they tweeted a reply that they got from, I think it was the Department of Work and Pensions or something, because I think it was in Inverness or something like this, and his constituents were very angry that the state pension was being called a benefit, and they were absolutely fuming at the idea that they are on benefits. I'm not on benefits, I'm on the state pension. And so he, as an MP, sent a letter to, I think it was the Department of Work and Pensions. Frankly, it would make sense if it was, or the Treasury, one of them two. So, well, I've got...
Probably CC'd one in, yeah.
Yeah, I've got constituents who do not like being called that they're on benefits. And the reply was, well, it's a benefit. You may not like it, but like since it came about, it's always been called a benefit because it is a fucking benefit, you knobhead. They didn't put knobhead, but you could read between the lines. They're going, you're meant to be an MP. How can you be this honestly thick. But that shows with the constituents who are there going, I'm not on benefit. This shows how stupid society is. Kill all people.
Yeah, well, you're kind of getting your way. But there's, for me in that as well, there's him sending that, you say letter, I'll say email. Him doing that as well.
I got a letter back. It was a letter.
Yeah, but it's that sort of thing where he's sending it going,
not making it up, there was a letter.
If I can show this, I can show... If I can show this, I bet he followed it up with an email. If I can show this, it shows that I've asked. You do that in all lines of work where you're like, you're talking absolute bollocks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to send this. I know the answer already. I get this back. Then you go, there you go.
No, because how he did the tweet was not. I already know this. How he did the tweet was.
Well, he's not going to say that, is he? He's not going to say that. He's not going to put a little wink going. I tried.
I'm unwilling to accept that any of these people will make themselves seem like that much of a thick as shit knobhead to fucking go, I'm with all of my constituents. I'm not 100% sure what a benefit is either. Because we've spent so many years with the idea of benefit meaning poor scrounger, which isn't the fucking case. You actually go, well, you know that most of the money goes to state pensions. I go, oh no, I'm not on benefits. I've paid my dues. Like, so have other people, mate. Like, unemployment isn't just a lot of people who've never fucking worked. You absolute scum.
It's a really piss poor Inverness accent you did in the middle of that. But I totally agree. I totally agree.
I can't do accents. I wasn't trying.
I totally agree with all of that. I mean, But the beauty of that is we'll find out soon when there's loads and loads of jobs going. That'll take everyone off of benefits, won't it? Because there'll be so many different jobs.
Can you force people to work?
Personally?
No, not personally. I know how charming you are. You probably could.
All right then. We need to clarify. Like, can you force people? I know some people that could force people to work.
Yeah, but like the idea of
do you mean can our society force people to work? Well, no, but they can force numbers that show that people are working and say this is the best we've done in years.
Well, I mean, there's such a tiny percentage, like 0.5% or something, of people who literally just I don't want to work. But of those people, can you force them to work? Can you just go, well, you're not getting any benefits because you don't want to work?
He opened a drink. Were you still?
I saw that. I was talking to you, so I thought that maybe you'd listen to that instead of him fucking opening a drink. Could have opened the fucking water, but no, you decided to open the can instead, didn't you? You fuck.
Is that a thing?
For people listening to this on the audio, I'm calling Pete a fuck for opening a can. Whilst the rest of us are drinking pints.
Pete's off camera. He's not a very small person sitting on the chair next to Ashley on the other side.
No.
For people on audio, there's another chair next to Ashley.
Oh, God.
And I'm sitting on his lap.
Let's continue. let's continue. One of the reports that I told you that we were going to talk. We're going to do the first one. Yeah. This is a UN report.
Oh, they're the ones I didn't do.
It's found that at least 90% of men and women hold some sort of bias against women. This is the Gender Social Norms Index, analysed biases in areas such as politics and education in 75 countries. So globally, close to 50% of men said they had more rights to a job than women. Almost a third of the respondents thought it was acceptable for men to hit their partners. Now, the first question is this as high as you thought it would be, or is it lower than you thought it would be, or whatever the other one is?
90%.
Well, it is 90% of men and women hold some sort of bias.
Makes you think there's something in it, doesn't it?
It's don't forget, I don't edit this.
I wouldn't ever. I would have thought it would have been high. I don't know, about 90%. I have not got the mind that can go like, yeah, nah, I was thinking 70. Well, actually, no, I have that. 78% I thought it would have been. But, yeah, 90%, it's... When you look at so many of we tend to judge things by our own society, and so there's already gender bias in where we live, and we're supposed to be quite a free-thinking sort of society.
UK,
but you look at globally, then it's not a shock.
So UK, we have 25% thought men should have more right to a job than women. And
I did read this actually. It's so fucking ridiculous.
And men made better business executives.
There was also something about.
I'll be honest, 25% I thought was quite low. I thought the UK was going to be higher than 25%.
I said forward thinking, progressive. But there was also a thing in there about the percentage of men and women that think men make better leaders. And again, you're looking at the world thinking, how are you basing that?
Oh, this
how are you basing? Look at the shit. Look at the absolute shit we're in. Look at all of the fucking petty squabbles and the fucking disarray. But you're like going, yeah, I would, but I wouldn't put a woman in.
It's about half of the world's men and women feel that men make better political leaders, and you have to start questioning if people are looking at anything at all.
I mean, because if you looked at recent history, if you looked at it, you can go at any point through history and go like, I've got an argument that you're not right.
Well, that's it. I mean, like, entire history has shown that it basically has never worked. Humanity has never worked. You've never had a utopia in the entire length and breadth of society. Humanity in itself is a failed experiment, and the majority that we're here has shown that men are awful at doing it. I'm not saying for a moment that women would do better. They wouldn't, because we're all the fucking same. Everyone's a cunt. Women aren't going to come along and suddenly go, I fucking solved it, because they haven't, and they're not going to. Apart from maybe the New Zealand Prime Minister. Yeah. She's on fire at the moment. We've got tons of time. Have her take over the fucking world.
I'm glad it's New Zealand, not Australia.
Australia can burn, mate.
Is that still happening?
No.
Because I don't know.
I don't think so. Actually, I can't 100% say. I haven't seen it.
What with COVID-19 or whatever number one? What with coronavirus and like Boris Johnson having a baby and the floods and the fire? I don't know what the bad news is that's getting buried now, because I don't know which one is.
Well, this is it, like.
And also, if someone's in flood and they're stranded, would the government say that they're stranded or that they're self-isolating?
Depends where they are.
Where's the?
I assume they would say that they're self-isolating, because I still don't believe, even with the woman over in New Zealand, I still don't believe that anyone in power gives a single fuck about anyone else.
No, they're going to unplug the nostrils of the Welsh dragon. They're all
what
about
a weird thing to say.
But not for him. When you sort of like go, who the fuck would? Okay.
It's Boris. It's Boris Johnson that did. Of course, Boris Johnson.
I understand all these words, but I wouldn't ever think of putting them together. And I'm kind of disgusted by Boris put them together. Yeah, just like fumbled around and said. Blah, 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 blah. Inuits have got apparently there's a fable. Inuits got like 50 words for snow.
Snow, yes.
Yeah, and everything Boris Johnson says is bollocks, but he's got so many ways of laying them out. Now, is he allowed to go and get a drink for me while we're doing
He's allowed to go and get a drink for you. I don't know whether he will do.
Could just, yeah. Cameraman. Possibly get me a
producer Pete Cadden, can you get Dan a drink?
And
yeah, let's hope you're not on mic for doing that, eh? And while you're getting him one, I would also love one as well. Thank you very much for the offer.
40-foot lager, please. Huh?
Mine's a daytime.
I do love a Saturday lunch with you. What were you saying? You're saying everyone's scum and everyone's a
everyone's scum, everyone's a cunt.
You know what? Well,
have you got a news story?
To at least put that into action and have more women power and get rid of this bias. The way that we can at least get to that point where you can then say, see, women had the chance, but they were just as, what did you call them?
Just useless as men.
You said we were cunts.
I'll call everyone a cunt, mate. Yeah.
I was in that beer garden when you did. Eye opener. I think people just got to realise that all men, I think, which are just contrarians, contrary fuckers, which you might say cunts, and that all of the so many arguments against men are right. You just need to let men come to that conclusion themselves by feeding that information in. This goes back almost to like the argument we were having at the beginning about whether like the whole no platforming and all of this, and as soon as you take a hard line on something, that gets someone's back up because then they've got something to fight against. You start to suggest things, and basically, like I say, it's all men. It's a shame because I thought it was just me, but apparently, according to my therapist, I'm not special, which is fucking ridiculous. I'm still trying to get away from it.
Could you? And I think
this actually going to be me.
I think it has the potential of working. Is just say to people, like if they're like a right wing or sexist or something else, just say to them, just go. Hey, I mean, like the last time we spoke, you came up with a very interesting thing about saying that maybe men aren't right. Do you want to elaborate? Do you want to elaborate on it? And you actually put the idea into their minds that they said it before, and let them start running with the idea. So you actually set it up to them to go. Well, I mean, like you said the last time, and I'm not sure. Like, are you still of the opinion of this? And then you put it in that they've already had the idea, like Matrix fuck 'em or something.
Yeah. But I'm not sure. I'm not aware of that kink. But the more there's different ways of suggestion. Donald Trump, small hands, very fidgety, would be an excellent darts player, and also has the attitude that I think.
Oh, you need big hands for darts.
If he was a darts, you don't. You've proved. Well, actually, you're not as good. But you've got,
exactly.
But a small dart, he's like very fidgety with it. It's like he's got a lot of muscle memory in that way. He's also got the attitudes that you would associate with a captain of a darts player. Thanks very much, Pete. Oh, that is absolutely
very kind.
Darling.
Thank you.
It's not even a hoe garden. Why would you put that in the? It's very odd. well,
shouldn't it be a blue moon with a?
Welcome
with the
to Hoxton. Now, so get him in there, but you make the subtle suggestion to him.
That he should be a darts player.
He's in there. He is happy. He's a success there. He could, the bronzed flightist or something. There, you get him in there with a darts team. Leave the space open to someone else.
The darts grabber.
Yeah. Well, look at Philip Power Taylor.
Is he a sexual predator as well?
Yeah. He had. Is it allegedly? I don't even know. Anyway, but in his Winnebago, in about 2000, got done for having it away with a couple of, and
stay classy, wankers.
He's basically, he's like the Trump of. He had his name on his Winnebago, same as Trump has his on his towers. So it's all about levels, and he's a god in that realm. And Trump says so. Basically, you got to get the way you get men out is by letting them think it was. Oh, I've had a really good decision. So we had a good idea. We had this idea 5 years ago, dickhead.
But that's why I say if you put in the idea going like, well, you had this idea last time we spoke.
Didn't you say something about this?
Yeah. And then just let their mind, because I mean they're not going to remember. And they're going to push into that idea because you say it's their idea. You say it was a good idea. They're going to put their mind into it and go, "Oh yeah."
Men are susceptible to that sort of shit.
Oh, fucking everyone's susceptible to it. As I say, men and women aren't fucking different. They're all cunts.
I'm really glad that I decided to have orange in this because it's fucking lovely. Isn't it? See, you following me as well. That's nice. Yeah.
Have you got a story?
Not
we might as well get to yours.
Are we? Oh, is it almost done?
No.
Oh, right.
How long have we got? 20 minutes. We've got 20 minutes.
Jeez. You watching MasterChef?
No. Fuck off, mate.
What is your favourite Prince song? What is your favourite Prince song?
Purple Rain.
Is it Purple Rain?
Oh, no. When Doves Cry.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to claim to be deep into it. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm not even a big fan of Prince. I like his stuff when I hear it, but I don't.
It's not in a beer garden. But I've not. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot again recently. I've been sort of reappraising Parade.
Honestly, is this
big
what?
fan.
No, we're not. We're not.
And
I've got news stories. You can go fuck yourself. We're not going to have a conversation about Prince for my political breakdown. How fucking dare you?
Another Lover and Hole in Your Head. Excellent song. That's what I'm saying.
It may well be. It may
It is.
well be.
Go listen to it. That's what I say. Next time you take a lady or a gent love, whatever love you are frequenting now, you go. We take a moment.
Frequenting now? What? Like I fucking jump about?
I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I'm just saying. But I've never made. Would you put music on when you were wooing? Would
Wooing?
you put music on? Yeah.
Only if I'm playing with my lute.
That's a whole different ball game. Okay, we're courting.
Courting? What are you smoking?
Trying to get your
before
leg
come on
over.
doing
Would
this?
you? I had a Costa
Stop trying to
sandwich.
fucking wind me up, you knobhead.
I'm not. What other reports have come out this week? Was there something on wages?
There have been a couple of reports that have come out. Which one should we do next? That's the UN report.
Let's do the
No, there's a very interesting one.
The one on.
This is Dame Carol Black.
Carol Black's one.
That's the one. She's done a review on drugs, looking into the government's drug policy. This is only phase 1, of course. Phase 2 will be looking into actual policies to help change. But what it highlighted was a record level of drug-related deaths, continuing increases in use, and a disturbing rise in the number of children being dragged into violent and exploitative supply chains. So,
shocker.
I mean,
it's weird because, like, I haven't noticed loads of people not only homeless but living slightly destitute. Is that thing?
Yeah.
Slightly destitute. But yeah, like I haven't noticed loads of people scoring skag and near around where my mum lives, what used to be a very different area. And as you travel the length and breadth of the country, seeing more people in hard times and turn into all sorts of shit.
well, it's saying that...
I wonder if any of that, like all of the violent crime and knife crime that we read about, I wonder if any of that has got anything to do with gangs and drugs and things.
Well, yeah, because you got the illicit drug market is worth $9.4 billion or billion pounds in the UK, and the cost of drugs to society is £19 billion. So the first question is,
Makes Brexit seem cheap, 'cause that was only 4.6.
Yeah,
Read that on the train on the way out.
would more police solve it?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah,
No.
would just
No.
more police?
What? In what time frame? So, more
Let's say tomorrow we got these 20,000 police, or 21,000 police that we lost. We got them. Would that solve the drugs problem?
No,
Why?
because it's something that's embedded in society. Now, again, this sort of thing where you're saying, like, would it solve it? Yes or no? That's ridiculous. Because like it would help to stem some of the stuff on the ground, but you've got to get to the root of it, which is then to get into those gangs, and that's going to be a more of a long-term thing. Doesn't mean that you don't say the lack of police is a problem because now we can't get into networks, we don't have as much sort of like society policing and people being able to actually talk to people that could get into this crime and actually keep an eye. There's an argument to have those people back on the beat.
Yeah.
I believe it's called. But yeah, it was. You used to watch The Bill, Juliet Bravo. But there's a massive argument to have that. But the way, this whole yes and no thing is, that's the way that these decisions get fucking argued in like Parliament, and I might say sort of like, oh no, well actually we've done more for policing and we've done more, and like nah. It's all bollocks. Yeah, we should have enough fucking people to police, especially for a fucking population that is growing anyway. Like, but the fact that because if we put all of them on the beat tomorrow, shut the fuck up. If we put all of these people out,
I mean,
tomorrow,
as long as we've got Reggie Wallace, we'll be fine. Reggie Hollis. Is it Hollis?
Reg. Yeah, not Reggie. I never called him
Reggie.
He wasn't called Reggie. He was called Reg. Reg Hollis.
Was it Reggie?
Yeah.
Was it just Reg?
And Tony Stamp from Crinkly Bottom.
Yeah.
He used to go on with Noel Edmonds before he killed a man. Noel Edmonds, not Tony Stamp. But yeah, no, but that's not the reason why you don't put the people back out there. Like, so there should be enough people for that. But then it's just
So
because you've driven something to such a low, you don't go, well, if we did put them back in now, it probably wouldn't do a great deal. The fact is,
So
the numbers should have been growing rather than
what would you be looking into before
Me personally,
her phase 2 comes out into her policy recommendations? What are you chucking in advance?
Well,
what would you suggest? It's like what I'm doing here is like what team would you pick for the Euros before you hear Southgate's? That's what I'm doing here. What policies would you bring in to help stem the tide against drug use before she comes out with hers?
Well, Maguire would be out on the basis of what he did with that blatant foul, which only got...
I mean, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. But, I'm basing my picks on a whole season. But much as the government should be basing this, not just on a report of the last week or two, it should be...
Before we continue, before I stop you from...
So it should be money...
No, just before that. Maguire for the entire season should be in straight away. He's been playing fantastically. So let's not...
Because the man's an arsehole and a liar. He said that he was holding someone up with his foot.
Yeah, in the bollocks.
Yeah, which is bollocks in every sense.
That's how everyone does it.
Yeah, that's what it shouldn't...
But drugs, that's what we're looking for. Drugs.
Drugs, that's what we're looking for. Right, so police numbers, so it should be more... Not society policing. What is it? The ones that go out into the smaller areas. Community. Thank you. I live in London, so I've got no idea of it. Community policing. I'm moving back on the 28th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
Where to?
Similar actually, just a little bit further out than where I was. Higham Hill or Higham something. I get them wrong. It's like Manor Park and Manor House.
That doesn't sound like. It's
not near Walthamstow.
That's not.
What, Walthamstow? Fucking hell.
Well, that's
old man time.
London. That's fucking. That's like, I can't believe it's not London.
I'm London and say fucking come.
Of course you are, mate.
Community policing. Look into fucking. There's no youth clubs or anything. And when I say this, I'm fully aware that youth clubs. Oh, I never went to youth club. Never did me now. But there's nothing done. Guess what I'm saying is infrastructure. Look at the actual infrastructure of what makes it easier for people to fall into the thoughts of.
I think the destruction of the penny suite has a lot to answer for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you blame it all on the dissolution of Woolworths? They still got Woolworths in America.
Well, no, Woolworths,
so you want
Woolworths
American
weren't dealing in penny sweets by the end.
It's all drug talk with you.
Yeah, it was. They were having it was like 3, 4, 5p. You can't be having that claiming it a penny sweet. You should be there 10p, 10 sweets. That's how it should be. And then you could actually have a tuck shop where people would go. It would be a lot better.
So I'm for you. I thought youth club was going to be the most sort of arcane term used, but you want tuck shops back.
Tuck shops back.
Well, a tuck shop.
A tuck shop and a youth.
You'd have a tuck shop in a what? A school?
In a youth
club.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going deeper.
You're going
deeper than youth clubs. Youth clubs don't help, not unless there's
tuck.
You
have to have a tuck shop.
But then people will start selling.
Oh, I mean,
sherbet. That's what that is.
Well, I mean, we've all
magic dust.
I think we've all broken the law once by selling multi-packs as a singular. I think we've all done that.
Have we?
Haven't we? You never.
That's what you've done. You've sold multi-packs as a singular.
Well, when you were at school. Well, when you were at school, you'd get a multi-pack of
cigarettes.
I mean, that was
Hofmeister.
I did cigarettes, but that was you don't buy them as a multi-pack.
I once held some cannabis for a friend. That's what I told my mum when she found it in my sock drawer.
But like bottles of Lucozade, and they'd have that you can't sell them, or packets of crisps.
They still do. They still do.
Yeah, they still do, and you'd sell them as a singular. I'm not the only person who did that.
I'm not accusing you of anything. You're just coming clean.
A criminal empire.
While we're on talk, should we talk about MasterChef for a little bit?
No, we shan't. Okay. We're actually heading towards the end.
It feels it. You haven't even mentioned coronavirus.
I'm not gonna, mate.
Why not?
Why? Because everywhere else is going about it on how it's like the end of the days, and I don't think I'm going to add
so
into how it's all. I'm not going to add into the blind panic of it.
It's not blind panic anymore. Everyone's taking all the fucking loo roll. I mean,
well, that's where the panic is. The panic is.
It's not blind. I can't find loo roll. You know how often I need loo roll.
Yeah, right. The East End, it's absolutely fine because we're not fucking blind panicking. We're absolutely like, you want to come at us, you come at us, and you're gonna fucking have it, mate.
Oh, I can't wait to see you shouting at flu like a drunkard in a Weatherspoons who shouts at ghosts every day from fucking morning, noon, and night.
Mate, ain't gonna be,
you come at us. You come at us. You're shouting at flu. Shouting at flu in the middle of the street again.
I drink enough.
It's had me hat.
The coronavirus ain't going to come near me, mate.
Someone said to me earlier, when the weather clears up, it'll be fine. So now I've got when the weather clears up, and I've got saying I mean, drink enough to not get flu.
What he said, has some
merit.
Has some scientific merit because
I'm 90% sure it's a he. I would have definitely listened to.
Yeah, because they tend to. Things like this tend to dissipate in the warmer climes, but they can always, when it gets colder, come back twice as bad. So although what he originally said was right, the other part hasn't been thought of. So do you have any thing to plug?
Wuhan ain't nothing to fuck with. That's have you heard that anywhere? That's good, isn't it?
Well,
sort of that. Is it Wuhan? Is that where it comes from?
Are you?
Is that how you pronounce it?
Are you?
Coronavirus. I'm ill all the time, so I'm glad to see other people getting scared of being ill.
Are you?
So I'm every day. I'm like,
are you at Comedy Cabin on Wednesday?
I think I am because I'm therapy till 7. Then I'll try and run along. It's not one of the special nights where it's like Disney evening or anything, is it?
No, I'm in the scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll be done by 9:30, mate.
Oh, wicked. Well, I hope.
Although Gary did it as 9:30 last Wednesday, on fire, absolutely delightful.
Is there smaller audiences now that there is the risk of flu, or is it just the same?
Oh yeah, because it used to be fucking packed.
Can I just say one thing on the flu?
Yeah.
So last night, and I watched this, and then I watched MasterChef on.
Stop trying to bring up MasterChef.
No, I watched it on iPlayer because I was watching the football, but Nottingham Forest Millwall, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't shake hands or anything.
I've got no qualms with that.
But yeah, I know. But you have it on the grounds of you don't like personal contact with anyone. I'm talking about the flu thing. Oh,
thanks for that.
Touch it. That's all right. You can't get through that many cards.
Don't wipe your hand, mate. That's not the issue.
Hammy as fuck. But they didn't shake hands before. Even this is the first time you've ever looked at the fucking room. I start speaking, you're like, oh, look at the corner.
You've been speaking for a while. It turns out this
is
going to be long, and I was meant to be closing it at this point.
Yeah, I know. I've got nothing to plug, so this is it. Nottingham Forest, Millwall. They didn't shake hands beforehand.
Yes. 98 times you said that.
Because of the flu.
Yes.
Then they played 90 minutes of sweating all over each other, kicking each other up in the air in front of about 20,000 people, spitting and shouting at each other, whatever. But yeah, I mean the mascots are like the safest people at the minute, like in the suits wearing. But like what's that supposed to do? No shaking hands, and then they spend 90 minutes jumping on one another. I mean that's just how championship football's played.
If we're going to be killed, because we can't wash our hands correctly, we deserve to die. Right. News that we missed.
Another Saturday lunchtime with Ashley. Jesus
Christ. SafeToNet, the internet safety service, have been monitoring online interactions of more than 50,000 children and have discovered that girls as young as 10 are using code words drawn from Nando menus to obscure sexually explicit conversations. So you can make whatever joke you want from that. That's absolutely fine. Bristol Post has taken an interesting action of naming and shaming a selection of men who commented abuse aimed at Greta Thunberg below articles written about her work. In Germany, parents must now prove their children have been inoculated against measles before they are admitted to schools under a new law, which is making vaccinations a must. Argentina are on track to become the first major Latin American country to legalise abortion, which is good. Health experts have sent a warning to Boris Johnson over his plans to pull out of the EU's pandemic warning system, because we do not want anything good from the EU ever. When we say we're going to be on our own and taking back control, what we mean is we're going to be alone in a fucking floating island like some fucking leper going across the pool at your local shopping hall or whatever. That didn't end how I wanted it to, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. Dan, you got a point?
For people that are listening on things, are you going to do a thing at the beginning where you say, and if you want to skip the chat and just find out about the news, you can go to 58 minutes in?
No.
Because there are some views that you might not like to hear, and that the person that spoke about
Did I do that at the start?
Yeah, no, but I thought you might be able to record it.
It's not going to happen, no.
You might record it using Microsoft Paint.
A major... Oh, yeah, no, it's all about Microsoft Paint, mate. A major report into the far right by Hope Not Hate has been released. It's called The State of Hate 2020, in which social media companies have been heavily criticised. Yvette Cooper has also claimed that YouTube algorithms push viewers to extremist videos, and there's been and they've attacked the Tory party over Islamophobia. That was the other report. And Nissan are pushing on with plans to build its new sport utility car at its Sunderland factory, despite warnings over Brexit, although this decision was made in 2016 after a letter from the government said that everything will be fine. So it'll be very interesting to see what that letter actually said. I want to thank my guest, Daniel Cadey. Watch this on all of the stuff. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe to anything because you're fucking above that. Bye.
MasterChef is sort of shaping up to be